Welcome to The Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee. And today, I'm in Philly. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in the city of brotherly love where they make those cheesesteaks, right?
Yeah, cheesesteaks, man. Yeah.
So here today, I have the privilege of being in conversation with a self-taught visual artist who was raised in the North and the uptown communities of Philadelphia, who uses abstract and mixed media mediums to express himself through art. His unique style of abstract expressionism uses bright and vibrant colors for his work of art that usually focuses on the concepts of love, family, political issues, and just different phrases that come to place. Please welcome my man SK, Sean Kinsey. Welcome to the podcast.
Yo, what's up, Rob? How you doing, man?
I'm here, man.
yeah. Now listen, look, right? So I have a 5-month-old now.
Oh,
so
got it.
Yeah, man. He's like really energetic. So he shows that you have to be a very active parent, and that's an everyday thing, man. So we're both here, you know. Yeah. We're both here, man.
I look back, like, you know, when age has befallen us, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching Boys in the Hood recently. And I was looking at it, right? And, you know, I have an alias back in Baltimore with my friends. They call me Young Fish.
Okay.
Because it's a few too many Fishburne references. Yeah. It's like I'm Fishburne in different movies.
Yeah.
So I'm really keen in on his age, and he's like my age in the movie. And I'm like, yo, I hate this.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And they aged him up, by the way, because he was only 30. He was playing like 37.
Yeah, for real?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, I'm 37 now. Am I washed? I started doing that. thing. So
start questioning yourself.
So, I had a gray pop out on the sideburn. I was like, y'all can't have Reed Richards now.
I found one.
Maybe
two.
They come up in weird places. Like I had one in the nose, one up here, one on the side. Nah, y'all gone. Y'all out of here.
Right.
I plucked them. I remember one of my other podcasts, my buddy, he has a lot of gray, and I was like, yo, you're in here looking like Mr. Glass. He was
Mr. Glass, right?
He's like, got it. So before we get too deep into the conversation, I want to get the Sean Kinsey story. Give me the elevator pitch. Like, what is the story? Like your earliest art experience and things of that nature. Let's start off there, and then we'll move from there on to some other questions.
Man, going to take it back to when I was about from 6 to 8 years old, living with my grandmother. Around that time, my uncles, they had the flyest kicks, man. Like growing up, like talking to Scottie Pippins, the Penny Hardaways, the Jordans, the Vans out back then, you know, things of that nature. And I was really good at hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
And I would draw out their sneakers, you know, had like a notepad, maybe about 8 inches wide, 9 inches high. Yeah. And I would just sketch every pair of sneakers they have every single day. And it became a habit almost.
Yeah.
To where as though I got older, you know, first and foremost, I was a basketball player.
Okay.
All my life, man.
Yeah.
So I played basketball. That was my first love. But I always had a thing for like arts and like fashion, you know, things to my uncles.
Yeah.
And when I got older, I just started tapping into the annual mixtapes.
Of course you
were. So yeah. So, you know, so that was my era.
Yeah.
So I love the boxes.
Yeah.
Came in.
Yeah.
And I would make posters of those boxes.
Oh, really?
All on my walls. Yeah.
That's hard.
So
yeah.
That's how it all started, honestly. And just later on, I just grasped that whole, you know what? I may want to do it professionally, so here I am. Yeah.
So starting off with something that most people are like, yeah, I'm done with this, or it's used for other purposes, like you might put your cards in there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy I know in Baltimore. He does dioramas.
Yeah.
With old Altry tins.
Okay.
So, you know, the whole, like, operation?
Mm-hmm.
He has different ones that are different segments of the whole operation board. That's crazy, right?
That's very creative. Yeah.
And so when someone's repurposing something, like, we're very wasteful here. So when you're able to repurpose something and turn it into art, that's the stuff that's really interesting to me.
Facts, I agree.
So let's talk about feelings. Hold on. That was very weird to put it, right? Let's talk about feelings.
We in therapy now?
Well, a little bit. What feelings are you usually trying to express within your art? Because, I see, certain messages that are in there. Keep your head up, love all, peace, stay focused, just things that are solid things that people need to be aware of. People need to hear, people need to say, all right, I'm walking by. Like, I'm a person that, I was walking here earlier, just walking around, and I absorb the messages that are there. So if you see a message and you just hits you, like, I'm keeping my head up. So you're right, bro. You're right, imaginary message person. Yeah. So tell me about some of those feelings.
I try to incorporate what people go through every single day. Like through their lives, and just trying to send a message of like positivity, especially in the Black community. Yeah. Because we deal with so much trauma, like every single day. It's especially being a Black man here in society. So I just try to make sure that it sends a message, towards everyday people who it's like make a living every day, who's struggling, who can't keep their head up. Yeah. So things of that nature, and I just the sole purpose is to really just put a smile on someone's face. So
yeah, I mean, if I was a ghost messenger, I'd be like, yo, eat less red meat. Yo, pull your pants up. It would just be but it would also be like ridiculous things. It's like, yo, you gonna trip on something. Right. It's just like me just trolling. Yeah. It's almost trolling.
I get it.
But doing the positive thing, I think that's, like I said, it's important. It's important to kind of have that, because we're, like, if you use social media, right? There's so many things out there just telling you you're not worth it, you're not important, you're this, you're that comparison thing. Yeah. But when you're just reading something rather, that you're coming by like, I should do that. This is something that's for me. Right. So why is it visual that resonated with you maybe more than the other like mediums?
I would say because I'm also hands-on, and I'm like very big on actions too. So I chose to do visual more because we're surrounded by, it's like nonstop. It's like marketing. Yeah. Wherever we go. It's a sign, it's a billboard, it's a logo somewhere. Can't avoid branding, right? Yeah. So therefore you can't avoid, it's like visual artwork. So I'm just very big on just it being bold and just clear as day. Yeah. Like the message is right there. So
it's almost a kind of a counter to some of that stuff that we're seeing out there. It's like, in this, like if you look at it like a stream, right? There's so many, like if it's a stream and like salmon are spawning, there's so many going by. It's like eventually you're going to see one that catches your eye. Yeah. And a lot of this stuff, like, it becomes noise, seeing like, oh, Dunkin' Donuts, Burger King, blah, 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 blah.
Right, over and over again.
But you see something that's striking, it has like a positive message, you're like, oh, is that for me?
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of like seeing, like certain food commercials. Like me personally, I don't eat certain things. Yeah. So whenever I see a commercial where it's like, new juicer or like a vegan restaurant, like something like that, it, catches my eye rather than the everyday like McDonald's.
Where's the Arby's at?
Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, when somebody puts out something that just hits, it hits the person. I think whatever the messaging is, it hits who's supposed to hit. So, like, and going back and listening to old episodes of this podcast, I'll make references to something that's just so obscure. Yeah. And it's like 10 people like, I know what you're talking about, bro. I was like, that was for you then. That was for y'all.
Right.
So tell us about Vision 22. Because I'm feeling like you mentioned the basketball thing, so I feel like that was a number you had at one point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So 22 is my jersey number. 22 is also an acronym. So how it all started was, first I had a clothing brand. Yeah. That was called Vision 22. Right? And I basically incorporated that with my logo. As you can see, the eye has a 22 in it. Yeah. So that symbolizes my mother's birthday, for July 22nd. She's a crazy Cancer. Sorry to the Cancers out there, but She crazy cancer though, but she's my motivation.
Yeah.
In everything I do, you know, things growing up I've done, you know, she's a huge help in my life. So I always had that vision, you know, from her to, you know, just stay on track, keep doing the right thing, you know, keep believing in yourself.
Yeah.
And she distilled that in me till now.
The positive messaging.
Yeah, the positive messaging. So I use that number, and that number is an acronym, and it stands for Inspiration for Creation. So spell that out. Yeah. That's 22 letters total.
Okay, that's a little numerology there.
Numerology, right. So after a while, I started going with the name, you know, Vision 22, but it just didn't click in me, honestly. So I felt like, you know, what's wrong with the world knowing my real name?
Right.
You know, Sean Kinsey. So I just rather the world know who I really am. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't hide behind a name. So it's Sean Kinsey art. You know what I'm saying? So
I dig it. It's a certain like level of ownership. Like it's like literally I'm putting my name on this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean we can change our names. It's like no, I'm putting my name on this. This is like when it's almost like putting a stamp of approval, like in doing this, right? Like, you know, going back to the pod, you know, it's mostly based in Baltimore, mostly based in the city. And when I had to make some considerations when I stepped out, and it's like, I'm going to do this series in Austin, Texas. And then later I'm going to do a series in Philadelphia.
Right.
And I'm putting my stamp and my name on just what I'm deciding. So if people are coming to like believe in what I'm doing, believe in this brand of storytelling, the same I would, you know, imagine with your work, your art, that it's like I'm expecting a certain quality and I'm expecting a certain experience from that.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Right. Simple as that. So I agree.
Let's talk about the Philly in your style. How does Philly influence your style creatively, professionally, or personally?
Creatively, Philly, I would say we have a lot of swag here. Honestly,
oh my gosh,
it's my opinion, man. Because of the East Coast,
these Philadelphians,
we are like, you know, like top of the top, man. And
oh my gosh,
listen, spade is a spade, bro. Right?
I love it.
Spade is a spade, right? But yeah, man. My style, it's inspired from like Mesquite.
Okay.
You know, back in the day, you know, guys like that, and just that fluent, like being known of, you know, hip hop artistry, and you know things of that nature. That all goes into my artwork. Yeah. Honestly, just all, you know, how laid back we are, but also loud we can be. You know what I'm saying? It's like loud and vibrant. So that comes with the color scheme of things. Personally, I feel like being a Philadelphian, you have to be cutthroat, honestly, man. We come from a very cutthroat city where everyone's in competition with one another. Yeah. You know, which is fun at times. And it gives you that sense of, like, cockiness. So I kind of feel like you have to have a certain level of arrogance. Not so much where, you know, it's like people hate you, but so much like, you know what? I can respect this person. Yeah. So that, and just like, you know, me being from Philly, man, regardless, man, like eating 215 all day. So
that's a guy.
That's it.
No, but
you know what I mean?
I hear it though. I hear it. I mean, we have some of that. I always joke, like, I like Philly a lot. Yeah. And I'm like, Philly just has a better PR situation. They're further ahead than we are in Baltimore. Like we're like a cycle behind y'all. Yeah. And I think like when it comes to that, like that kind of rebrand and that acknowledgement of all of the cool stuff that happens up here. And there's a lot of that.
Very cool stuff.
I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to knock it. I mean, I'm up here doing this interview. Right. And it's funny because it's similar in that regard. And I think there is that competition, and I think there is that opportunity for collaboration as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I have this running bit with my partner, with my girlfriend, where we talk about how loud something is based on the volume of the person saying it. So it's like, yo, it's on old black Baltimorean man right now because it's just loud.
Loud, right?
And I told her, I was like, it's because we had all of these like day laborer jobs when we worked on a railroad. Yeah, everybody's death is what's happening.
Right. Absolutely.
And what do I see up here? Trains
nonstop. Trains, loud cars.
Boom.
Right.
And then a lot of performances because I almost got earplugs. I was like, hold on, bro, it's in Philly. Let me put my earplugs in before I do this interview. So thinking back, like early on, and you know, when you're going through like some of the N1 stuff, and you're kind of going through like the box, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna replicate this, I'm gonna make this. How do you feel you've grown as an artist, and like from this point, like where you're at, like where do you think you've grown at before this? And to this point, where do you want to grow? Where do you see your most growth opportunities?
So where I've grown, honestly, I would say a lot, man. Between the realm of like, just maybe I would say 6 years ago. Yeah. So, remind you, just basketball. Yeah. It's like that was my life. It's like basketball. I played in college. Played semi-pro, you know, try to do the whole like overseas thing. Yeah. That was my life for a while. But I always felt like I was hiding something, you know, like hiding that real talent. Because let's be honest, where we come from, it's frowned upon. You know what I mean?
Like you're in the art? Why you in the art?
Yeah, it's like you in the art? That's for suckers, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yo, go sell some drugs. I'm like, huh?
Right. Yeah. You know, you even got, you know, drug deals. You know, being a basketball player or just being a rapper.
Yeah. You have three, it's like choose your own adventure and art's not a part of it.
Exactly. I don't know why when it comes to being a black man, that's not a part of it, but it just was frowned upon until a while ago, probably like 5-6 years ago. My wife and I, we went to a Paint with a Twist. Yeah. That's how it all started. I was like, yo, I can do this professionally. So, I know I can.
So when you get to because I want to key in on that piece right there. When you get to a spot where you're doing something because you started off early with having that interest in it, right? And then like basketball kind of taking that focus, being like, this is at the forefront.
Right.
And then kind of having an experience that makes you dive back into it. How did that feel to kind of be reintroduced to something that you were interested in, but you really didn't have the opportunity or capacity to really pursue it?
Don't get me wrong. It was a scary process, honestly. Oof. Yeah. Because I felt like for so many years I was busy not being myself, you could say. But in the aspect of just wanting people, you know, to accept me who I was. And this has always been me. Yeah. I've always been into arts. But, you know, from my peers and like, you know, certain neighborhoods you grew up in, how I said, like, being an artist isn't a cool thing to do, you know what I mean? So it took me a while to be like, you know what? To hell what people think. Like, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. And it, from 5.5, 6 years ago, like till now, I've done a lot. And I'm not comparing, but there's artists that I know who've been painting professionally for years. Yeah. And they haven't, you know, achieved as many goals or accomplishments that I have within this 5-6 year span. But that's due to my hard work, you know.
What is one that comes to mind as far as like when you have that checklist, right? Like, I don't know if you heard that joke when they were talking about, like, people were talking about on like Instagram, like, yo, The Rock is just doing side missions. He's rapping, becoming a DC hit. So, like, of that checklist of things that you've had on your list of this is what you want to accomplish, what have you accomplished that you're like, okay, yeah, that's definitely memorable. That's definitely something that sticks out for you.
It's top 2 memories.
Yeah, sure.
I would say my mural in the airport.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's right now. That right there alone was just like a, whoa.
I was like, how did I get this guy again? That's what I was thinking.
No, like seriously, when they reached out to me, I was like,
because this is the mural city.
This can't be right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, this can't be real. So I kept checking my email. I'm like, okay, this is real. And I showed my wife. She was like, damn, you popular. You popular. I was like, nah, man. But that was a surreal feeling. That, and I would say I did a mural out in Sacramento, California, maybe about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine, he works for a company called Rethink Direct. And they're like all over the entire country.
Yeah.
And they flew me out, paid for my flight.
I mean, that's a good feeling, by the way.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to stuck.
Yeah. And, he was like, yo, we're commissioning you to do this wall in here. Get the job done. I was like, cool.
Bet. You got it.
You know what I mean? So just to know that I have artwork in a totally different coast.
Yeah. You're bi-coastal as an artist.
Bi-coastal, right. And it's like to know that I have canvases everywhere. I have collectors in Texas now, California, Michigan, Jersey, PA, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia.
Yeah.
It goes on and on. So that was a huge, huge compliment within my career.
That's dope. I mean, and that's kind of like what I was sharing with you earlier with doing the Austin series or what have you.
Yeah.
Being able to take something that I have no ties to that city and being able to go down there and say, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Can you help me bring it to fruition? Just that idea of trust and of someone saying, yeah, I'll fly you out for you to do it. And then they have like faith in you. And you're like, literally, this is all coming from me.
Manifestation.
Yeah. And you're getting these messages as you've touched on earlier. We're not telling you to, it's like, oh, you could get here if you play basketball. You could get here if you did this. Like, why aren't you rapping yet?
Right.
But you go in there and saying, I'm doing something that is very much self-made, that I'm making a lane for myself using my hands to do it.
Using my hands, yeah.
So what would you want to accomplish in, let's say, the next 3 years? Like, what's something that's like up there? You're like, I see it. And you're going to speak it into existence right now, actually. Yeah. What is that thing for you in the next 3 years that you want to have accomplished?
Next 3 years?
Yeah.
I want to have a painting in a famous art museum. No matter where it's at.
It's a couple here?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's a couple here, but mainly my main goal next 3 years is to get a painting in some other state, country, whatever the case may be. But just something that stamps my name like globally.
Yo,
that's really it, honestly.
For those listening, when this episode drops, tag your favorite museum that my man's work should be in.
Yeah, please do.
Tag him up. Spam him. Spam him with this episode.
Please do.
No, that's great. That's great. And I think we have to really speak on those things and really not keep them internal. Because, on the way up here, I was like, I do the audiobooks, right? Yeah. And I'm listening to a book, and it's like we get so caught in this idea of we should just hold the things in and keep them things to ourselves, whether it's something we desire to do, whether it's, hey, I dug this conversation with you, I want to keep it going. We don't do that enough. And then we wonder why things feel fake and feel contrived and feel like
very true.
We're not getting the response that we want.
Yeah, because we're not being open about it.
We're not being open. We're not being authentic. And the other person is like, I can't do the work for you. I can't reach mine.
No.
So we're able just to say, look, I want to have this podcast in multiple cities. I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z from this. Speak it out there. You want to have your work in, multiple, not one, multiple, multiple.
Multiple.
Yeah.
Shit, multiple, man. And I honestly say, between this 5-6 year span, I have definitely spoken a lot of things, into manifestation.
Yeah.
Of from it's like the airport to doing collabs with like restaurants, having a website, things like that.
Would you say in pursuing opportunities, right? Do you really think outside of the box? And I say that because like I'll talk to artists, like people who have paintings and so on, and they're like, man, I'm not really moving any of my work, you know, I got these storage fees and so on, but they have a very limited idea of where their work should be shown. So like, you see walls here, right?
Right.
There's obviously people's work on here. This will be beneath them. You see what I'm saying? So how do you pursue like opportunities? Do you limit the opportunities you pursue?
I definitely limit, because I feel like all connections aren't good connections.
Yeah.
In my opinion. There's been times where I've, you know, I could have did something or had that opportunity that I didn't want to take because I knew it wasn't a fulfillment towards my future or what's going on now. So I was just like, you know, I would like turn certain things down because I felt like that's what helps you grow.
So you can't say yes to everything.
No, you can't. Because it gets watered down like that.
Yeah.
So, nah.
But I think, like, is it fair, like, when someone is starting out, like, be judicious, right? Like, kind of think of, like, all right. Because there are some people who are like, yeah, I don't want my stuff in a coffee shop for sake of argument. And it's like, but you're not selling it, though. You're not moving it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's something like that, but, like, in a space like this where other creators are at, your stuff is going to be seen.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say, by any means, when you first starting out, it's like by any means, do what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
But also have the sense of knowing your worth. Yeah. And it's like knowing where you belong and knowing that you don't belong everywhere.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just, you know, just having that mindset of like, hey, you know what? I'm not being like arrogant, but I'm letting you know that that's not where my work, you know, should be, and this is where my work is going to be in the near future. So, just being mindful of speaking things to existence.
No, I agree with that. Like,
you know what I mean? So
when I go through the process of like figuring out who do I want to talk to, it's not like I'm talking to everybody because one, I can't.
Right.
But two, it's just like, oh, you're just going after people with clout. It's like, I'm not going through Instagram and seeing how many followers someone has.
Yeah, hell
that
no.
That would be wild. Like,
that would be very, very strange.
That's like, yo, you got 30,000 followers? All right, bet.
And honestly, something like that, for example, so when it comes to me, I feel like I'm very underrated for one. You know, and
you too, brother?
Yeah, like, you know, I don't have the, you know, like thousands and thousands of followers, you know, the whole popularity thing. Don't really care for it.
But that's not what you're doing it for, right?
Right. Because the work speaks for itself. So, I do have that problem with like, just accepting, you know, certain things into my, you know, whole business aspect.
When opportunities get presented, like people ask me to MC and people ask me to do different things, you know, I'm kind of open to it because I'm like, all right, this opportunity, depending on what it is. Yeah. And if I'm doing something that's community based, I should probably be in the community for certain things where it makes sense, right?
I agree.
But when it flips of, hey, would you guys be interested in funding this? I'm doing this series about blah, blah, blah. And it makes sense. The pitch is there. The business case is there. I don't know, bro. Like, what's the impact? What's the impact statement? How many followers you got? How many downloads you got?
Yeah, and why is that, man?
I don't get it.
Honestly.
I don't get it.
Can someone answer, like, why does it take someone...
It's a validation marker.
Right. So, in order for them like to respect your like craft of what you do, you have to have this amount of followers or, you know, these people following you.
And while they're being a fan, too. It's like, I'm aware of what you do. I like what you do. Cool.
But I'm not going to show you so much love.
It's like, here's the love. That's all you're getting.
And let's touch on that. Honestly, that's one of my main reasons why I feel like I have to get out. I have to leave Philly. I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
Because... like I said, you know,
cutthroat.
We're very cutthroat here. And honestly, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But I just feel like there's so much time being wasted here with like popularity and everyone's being like clicked up, you know, who's popular over there, who's popular over there. And if you're not, I don't care how talented you are, but if you're not, we can't roll with you. That's a problem I have here.
Do you feel that, let's say, I don't know if the move happens, right? Mm-hmm. Where, let's say someone goes to L.A., they're definitely Philly, but they go to L.A., they go to New York, and they kind of get that sort of new coloring on them. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, now we want to rock with you. Do you think is that what happens?
I think that happens a lot, honestly.
Same in Baltimore.
I have friends who have, I have best friends who are entrepreneurs too.
Yeah.
They moved to Cali as well. Shout out to Dom. Sick Days Clothing. He moved to Cali. His brand is so rare and it's like so unique, so cool, great quality stuff.
Yeah.
But the love he got here was like, it's like compared to the popular people.
Yeah.
And
then the popular people is something lacking there for the people that know like art and that know the quality of the work.
Right.
They're like, no, you're really just lacking. Popular. You just have that.
Just popular, right. So he moved to Cali.
Yeah.
And like things were like completely different for him now. Mm-hmm. Like completely different.
But I think some of these cities that, and I believe like Philly has a few more resources than Baltimore does. Mm-hmm. But I think that comparison still is very apt where it is people fighting over a few different crumbs here and there because a lot of them are already earmarked for the more popular people for whatever reason, right?
Absolutely.
So, because you've been putting in that work, you can do so many different things that if you go to another location with a few more resources, it's like, damn, you know how to do all of that?
Right.
Because I didn't have a choice.
Didn't have a choice at all. And I feel like that's what had pushed me forward, just realizing that it's like didn't have a choice, and it's like then regardless, I'm going to put the work in.
Yeah.
Regardless. So
I think that's a good spot for us to stop on the real questions.
Yeah.
So now it's time to get to some rapid fire ones for you.
Okay.
Got some quick questions for you. Nothing too intense.
Cool.
I'm gonna save the good one for last. Favorite color, and I spell color with a U because I'm bougie.
Damn.
I spell color with a U. Yeah. They like that.
So I have favorite colors, honestly. My favorite color, blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta hold y'all artist types.
Yeah, man, blue's my
I gotta put parameters
color,
on y'all.
Yeah.
Like, it depends on the cerulean. It's like, all right,
on the season,
right? I Pantone, like, chill
out. Season, right?
Yeah. Let's see. What is your go-to movie when you need like a mood boost, like something that cheers you up when you're like, man, things kind of suck, man. Because we go up and down sometimes when it comes to like the art stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, nobody cares. I put this up, no one gave a shit. Like whatever.
Friday. 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Friday. Yeah.
What is your favorite quote about life? We gotta get introspective here. What is your favorite quote about life?
One of my quotes, honestly.
Please. I mean, it's a gem.
Like, so can I be like raw here?
Yeah, I was raw a second ago. Go ahead, please.
My favorite quote is like, do what's best for you.
Yeah.
And that's simple. Like, do what's meant for your life and your life only.
Yeah.
Fuck what people think.
100%.
That's it. Yeah.
100%.
And that's my quote every single day. I say it. Do what's best for you. What's best for Sean.
I'll tell you my quote when we get off mic because mine is ridiculous. I'm going to share it when we get off mic. Right. This is the last one I got for you.
Cool.
What's the best piece of fashion advice you've ever gotten? Because I see you. You got your little. I'll give you your Philly swag. You have some swag.
Yeah,
so what's the best piece of fashion advice you've gotten?
My uncle, man, Tom. We like. So it reminds you. We're like 3 years apart.
It's always funny those.
And that's it.
Yeah, those ages. Yeah,
right. Like 3 years apart, but he's always been like a big brother to me, big uncle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He just always taught me just to like stand out.
Yeah.
Don't look like a mannequin. This is his favorite line. Don't dress like a mannequin, yo.
That's great.
It's like stand out. Like, and I'm talking back in 2006 when everybody was wearing, polo.
Oof. Yeah.
Then, Nike boots, Burberry shirts, and
you're talking about a wild era right now.
Wild era, right?
Yeah.
While we were wearing, what everybody's trying to wear now.
Yeah.
The Supremes, things like that. The BBC, the Babe, whatever. He just always taught me just to stand out. Yeah. Don't be stuck in the times neither. Don't wear shit because they're wearing it.
Yeah, and I think that's applicable.
That's the problem I have with fashion, period.
I think that's applicable in not purely fashion.
Yeah.
But even like in music, right? Like,
yeah, music too.
When you go back and you listen to something, it's like, don't listen to what's happening right now. Because like you hate when like a rapper you like or whatever. It's just like, can you listen to something else?
Seriously. I really think people have a problem with following trends. Mm-hmm. They may not see it, or it's like can't admit it, but they follow trends way too much. I'm not going to wear, those sneakers because everybody wears them now. No, I might wear them 5 years later.
And that's
it's like worn out. Or
it's one of the things that I remember Currency saying. He's like, I write my winter raps in June.
Yeah,
and it's I like that. Or even when I would go, when I would go like shopping and go like, I would buy a batch of things. Mm-hmm. I would get my stuff like off season intentionally.
Yeah,
and I would hold it for like a year.
Yeah,
there's stuff I haven't even like cracked that's just been in storage for like a minute, and I was just like, because I was even looking at. And this is weird, like, living the kind of arty lifestyle, being around artists.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to buy a bunch of Black Carhartt shirts.
Yep.
And just wear the same thing. Because I was just like, man. It's a uniform. It's like we have like a creative uniform.
I honestly don't get dressed anymore. So half my clothes have paint all over them now. So that's a whole like fashion statement right there.
Yeah.
Like by accident, first of all. But, I honestly don't get dressed anymore. I feel like I just don't have to sometimes.
I'll throw on one or two ridiculous accessories, right?
Yeah.
Like, I like wearing these scarves. I like doing these. And I have, like, I remember I went to one of these restaurants I'm really cool with, and I had this, like, really fat chain on, and she was like, how heavy is that chain? I was like, I got it from Vitali. It's fine.
Right,
it's just like, it's the thing.
Right.
But I think that's where we'll stop at. So, as we wrap up here, I want to thank you for being on this podcast.
Oh man, thank you.
This has been great. And,
thank you.
And aside from all this Philly talk, and I want to invite and encourage you to tell the listeners where to check you out, your work, website. The floor is yours.
So you can check me out on Instagram at Sean Kinsey TUA. That's SeanKinseY TUA. It's not hard to remember. And my website is SeanKinseyArt.com. And you can find out all the information on there, like future events, like pricing, or you can send me an email for whatever you want to do. So, those two things right there. That's it.
So you have it, folks. I want to again thank great Sean Kinsey for coming on, chopping it up with me. Yeah, man, 100%. And it's great being up here in Philly. And for Sean Kinsey, I'm Rob Lee, saying that there's art in and around your neck of the woods. You just got to look for it.